You just entered a riddle-solving competition. The game show host shows you the first riddle you have to answer. Take a look at the image. Who do you think will be able to make it all the way across the line? Let's face it, it's the man on the left. Even though it looks like he's having a hard time carrying such heavy things, the weight is evenly distributed between his two hands, so he'll probably make it through without any problem. For your next challenge, the game show host shows you a picture of sinking boats. Which boat do you think will sink first? The first boat has 2 holes in it, but somehow it has way less water inside. The second boat only has 1 hole, but look at the amount of water that got inside. It's definitely the second boat that's going to sink first. Since you passed the first 2 rounds, the third one gets a bit harder. Ken was riding on his rollerblades when he fell down and hurt his head. He woke up in the hospital only to find that 3 Barbies were waiting for him. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out which Barbie is actually Ken's girlfriend? This is a tricky one. It can't be the third Barbie, because the real Barbie would never wink at Ken. It's usually him that does the flirty things. It's also not the second Barbie, because she would never put makeup in front of him. So this leaves us the first Barbie, who must be his girlfriend. The Fin is a famous hostel in Spain. It's especially famous for its fun showers. But hey, something doesn't look right in this image. Take a look and try to guess what it is. The woman on the right is squeezing a ketchup bottle instead of a shampoo bottle. That's definitely weird, huh? For the final rounds, the host picked out a few written riddles for you. The first one is, I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. Am I a microphone, a phone, or an echo? What would you say? The answer is an echo. I'm not alive, but I can grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. What am I? A tree, fire, or clouds? The correct answer is fire. Way to go if you chose that. Matthew works in the same company as Jean. He's had a crush on her for months and has been trying to impress her in any way he can think of. That's why he decided to take part in the Brain Challenge, a contest his company organizes once a year. By saying yes, he had to answer a bunch of expert-level questions and solve some pretty difficult riddles. For the first round, he had to crack a rebus puzzle. Take a look at the piece of paper they gave him. Can you guess the answer? The answer was invisible string. Nice! For the next round, they took Matthew to a room full of random stuff. His task was to find a specific object. As a clue, they gave him a piece of paper that said, what goes up when the rain goes down? Look around and help him find the object. It was that red and blue umbrella over there. For the final round, Matthew had to solve an AI riddle. If he answered it correctly, he would win the contest's main prize and probably Jean's heart. The riddle said, I have 1,000 needles, but I do not sew. What am I? Can you guess what he answered? The correct answer is a porcupine. Alfred is a supermodel and he just landed his dream job. The biggest magazine in the country invited him to be on the cover of their latest issue. On the day of the photo shoot, he arrived early in the studio. After finishing with hair and makeup, he looked in the mirror and screamed, "Oh no!" His skin was all red. It looked like he was having some serious allergic rash. He called all the assistants he had seen earlier that day to interrogate them. Amy, the photographer's assistant, said she had been told Alfred was allergic to peanuts, so she made sure to only buy safe snacks. Bo, the makeup artist, said he hadn't touched Alfred's food. He said that right after he had finished his job, he left for a coffee break. Mary, the cleaning lady, said that she knew how sensitive models could be, so that's why she only used organic and hypoallergenic products to clean his dressing room. Alfred immediately knew who had contributed to his rash. Can you figure it out too? It was definitely Bo. Sure, he didn't have access to Alfred's food, but he was the only one who touched Alfred's face that day. Liv was recording a dance routine for her social media page when a huge portal opened up and swallowed her whole. The next thing she knew, she was stuck inside a big cavern. Out of the blue, a great genie appeared. He told her that she would only be allowed to leave if she figured a way out by herself. As soon as he disappeared, she saw that there were 3 buttons on the wall. There was a red, a yellow, and a green button. On the floor, there was a note that read, TDUPT RNOR EHEB SST. She clicked one of the buttons and managed to open a hidden door on the wall. Can you guess which button she chose? The red button. She unscrambled the words on the note and discovered it read, "Press the red button." As soon as she pressed the button, Liv was transported into a virtual reality world. An artificial intelligence greeted her and showed her 3 doors. The AI told her that there was only one door that would lead her to freedom. It told her that behind the first door, there were hungry Pac-Men waiting for someone to walk inside. Behind the second door, there were cursed rollerblades. Once you put them on, you would never be able to take them off. Plus, they had a will of their own and ended up taking you to some pretty dark places. Behind the last door, there were flying fuzzy creatures with laser eyes that burn anything they came into contact with. Which door do you think Liv should choose to escape? Well, she should pick the second door because she wouldn't be obligated to put on the pair of rollerblades. She could walk past them and straight to her freedom. During the time she was gone, Liv noticed that someone had stolen her laptop. It had all of her social media content in it. She figured it must have been one of her roommates, so she decided to take a look around the house to try to find it. Take a look at these images. The first room belongs to Jill. The second one belongs to Rachel, and the third one belongs to Amy. Can you figure out who stole Liv's laptop? If you look closely, Rachel's cat is sleeping on top of something that really looks like a laptop. It must have been her. On a hot summer day, Marjorie decided to go to the public swimming pool. As soon as she arrived there, she ran into 3 close friends, Sarah, Raven, and Donna. One of these women just gave birth to triplets. Can you guess who? It was Donna. If you look closely at her wrist, she's wearing 3 DIY bracelets with the word Mom written on them. Sam was backpacking through Latin America when he stopped at a restaurant to get some lunch. When he walked inside, he immediately spotted something weird. One of the customers is definitely not human. Can you guess who? It's the guy on the counter. Look, he's charging his hand on the counter socket. He must be a robot or something. Emma came to the office on Monday and found out that someone had deleted an important report from her computer. She knew that in the company there were 3 people who would be happy if she lost her job. Emma loved reading detective novels and even wanted to become a private detective when she was younger. That's why she knew she had to question the suspects. Laura, Emma's colleague, said, "I've just arrived. Phew, the weather is awful. Such a downpour. Why are you asking me?" Thomas, the accountant, answered,
"I was out getting coffee and I just returned."
And Eliza, a new employee, said,
"I had a meeting with a client in a cafe. I've just come back to the office."
Who might have anything to do with Emma's report? Eliza. Pay attention to the suspect's feet. Thomas's and Laura's shoes are wet. They got caught in the rain, but Eliza's high heels are perfectly dry. She must have lied about going out to meet with a client. Emma found this strange. To confirm her suspicions, she decided to watch Eliza, but the very next day, the girl disappeared, along with some very important documents. Emma's boss asked her to help him return the documents. He didn't want to inform the police yet. Despite all, Emma was happy. She could fulfill her dream of becoming a detective. Eliza's computer was protected with a password. After an hour of failed attempts, Emma finally noticed a piece of paper on the floor under Eliza's desk. She picked it up.
"I'm made up of 2 words joined together. I'm a dish. My first half is a famous genre. My second part is a grain. What am I?"
The answer to this riddle might be the password, but what is it? Popcorn. Emma managed to start the computer, and soon enough, she found a map with some coordinates. Time for some action. The map led her to a modern building. It was a gym. She entered and asked the receptionist about Eliza, but the woman refused to tell her anything unless she brought a guest pass. Once inside, Emma decided to explore the place. At one point, she entered the showers for ladies. She immediately realized something was off. But what exactly? See that man reflected in the window? Who is he, and what is he doing here? Emma was about to run out of the showers when everything went black. When she woke up sometime later, she realized she was in a small room without windows. There was a door with a combination lock. In her hand, she was clutching a note. Spelled forward were those rodents that terrify you, but what you need is spelled backward. You can't touch it, but you can see it at night. What is the password? The rodents the note speaks about are rats. Then the word Emma needs is star. The girl managed to open the door. She rushed out of the room but stopped abruptly. She saw a large armchair. A man was sitting in it. It was the man from the showers at the gym.
"Here you are,"
he exclaimed cheerfully.
"I admit that at first I wanted to bring your boss down, but I've changed my mind. I want to play now. If you crack all my riddles, I'll give you the documents and let you go."
Emma had nothing to do but agree. The man said, "See, I have a room filled with gold. Once, 3 thieves sneaked into that room, but only 2 of them walked out. After they left, the room was empty. So, where was the 3rd thief?" The 3rd criminal was in a wheelchair. He didn't walk. He rolled out of the room.
"Good job,"
the man shouted and pressed some buttons on the armrest of his chair. Emma screamed as she felt herself falling through the floor. It was pitch dark in the basement. Suddenly, A torch on the wall lit up. Emma saw 3 doors. Behind the first door, there was a dense jungle full of dangerous creatures. Behind the second door, there was a gigantic fire-breathing dinosaur whose breath could burn through any kind of material. And behind the third door, there was a lake filled with ice water. The water was so cold it needed just a few seconds to freeze literally anything. Which door should Emma choose? She should walk through the second door. Even if dinosaurs were still around, they wouldn't be able to breathe fire. It was the correct decision. The dino turned out to be a skillfully made statue. But there was just one door leading out of the room, and it was locked too. Ah! Emma was starting to get impatient. Luckily, there was another note with a hint. There were drawings on it. A banana, a sunflower, a rainbow, and an apple. Emma thought for a while, then pressed 4 numbers on the panel near the door. The code was correct, and the door opened. What numbers did the girl press? One, 3, 7, 1. Each digit corresponds to the number of colors of the objects in the picture. Emma saw a long corridor. She'd been walking for a while when she realized that the corridor was about to split into 3 passageways. They were signed West, East, South. She also saw this inscription on the wall. Which corridor should she choose? Emma tilted her head and looked at the inscription upside down. This way, it read, South. That's where she needed to go. Soon, the girl saw 3 doors on her way. On the floor, there were 3 keys that could open these 3 doors. What is the biggest number of attempts she will need to figure out the key for each door? Six. 3 attempts for the first key and all 3 doors. 2 attempps for the second key and the remaining 2 doors. And 1 attempt for the third key and the last door. Emma decided to go through the left door, and guess what? She ended up in the room with the armchair again. The man was there too. He asked her, "Today is Friday. You need to do something 72 days later. What day of the week will it be?" Emma understood it really fast. It would be Sunday. Look, 72 days equals 10 weeks plus 2 days. And 2 days from Friday, that's Sunday. The man was getting irritated. "Well, and how good are you at math? Look at this sequence. What are the next 2 numbers?" The next 2 numbers should be 20 and 28. There are 2 groups of numbers in this sequence, 11, 14, and 17, and 19, 22, and 25. In both of them, each next number is 3 more than the previous one. It means that in the first group, the next number is 20, and in the second group, 28. Then, the man offered Emma a bet. He said he would put 1 red and 1 blue marble in a box. If the girl picked the blue marble, he would let her go. But if she got the red marble, she would have to stay and help him around the house for a year. Emma knew that the man was going to cheat, because why would he take a risk like that? He would probably put 2 red marbles instead of 1 red and 1 blue. But how can she prove it? After thinking for a while, she managed to win the bet. How did she do it? Emma picked a marble and quickly put it in her mouth without showing it to the man. The marble that remained in the box was red. According to the rules, it meant that the marble Emma had chosen was blue. The man didn't want to admit that he had tried to cheat. "Okay, I'm not going to go back on my word, but here's the last riddle. If you crack it, you're free to go. How can you turn 6 into an odd number?" Emma didn't need to think much. She removed the letter S, which left IX. That's the number 9 in Roman numerals, and this number is odd. The man could do nothing. He gave Emma the documents and let her go. The girl was happy. Do you think she should pursue the career of a detective?
You just entered a riddle solving competition. The game show host shows you the first riddle you have to answer. Take a look at the image. Who do you think will be able to make it all the way across the line? Let's face it, it's the man on the left. Even though it looks like he's having a hard time carrying such heavy things, the weight is evenly distributed between his two hands, so he'll probably make it through without any problem. For your next challenge, the game show host shows you a picture of sinking boats. Which boat do you think will sink first? The first boat has 2 holes in it, but somehow it has way less water inside. The second boat only has 1 hole, but look at the amount of water that's gotten inside. It's definitely the second boat that's going to sink first. Since you passed the first 2 rounds, the third one gets a bit harder. Ken was riding on his rollerblades when he fell down and hurt his head. He woke up in the hospital, only to find that 3 Barbies were waiting for him. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out which Barbie is actually Ken's girlfriend? This is a tricky one. It can't be the third Barbie because the real Barbie would never wink at Ken. It's usually him that does the flirty things. It's also not the second Barbie because she would never put on makeup in front of him. So this leaves us with the first Barbie, who must be his girlfriend. The Finn is a famous hostel in Spain. It's especially famous for its fun showers. But hey, something doesn't look right in this image. Take a look and try to guess what it is. The woman on the right is squeezing a ketchup bottle instead of a shampoo bottle. That's definitely weird, huh? For the final rounds, the host picked out a few written riddles for you. The first one is, I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. Am I a microphone, a phone, or an echo? What would you say? The answer is echo, echo, echo. I'm not alive, but I can grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. What am I? A tree, fire, or clouds? The correct answer is fire. Way to go if you chose that. Now, Carol was invited to a Halloween party in an abandoned house. Her friends asked if she was up for a challenge, and she said yes. Soon enough, she was locked inside a room. In this room, there was 1 door and 3 light switches next to it. Behind the door was an empty closet with nothing but a light bulb. Her task was to figure out which switch controls the light bulb inside the closet. She could flip the switches in whatever way she wanted, but once she opened the door, she couldn't touch the switches anymore. After some minutes of thinking, she was able to get it right. How did Carol do it? Okay, let's go step by step. She flipped switch number 1 and then waited a few minutes. She flipped it back to off and then immediately flipped switch number 2. Then she opened the door and checked the light. The bulb was off, so she discovered that it wasn't switch number 2 that controlled the light. So she decided to touch the bulb to test if it was hot or cold. If the bulb had been cold, that would have meant that switch number 3 controlled it. But the bulb was hot. So that meant that switch number 1 controlled 1. Way to go, Carol! To get back to the party, Carol had to solve another riddle. There were 2 hourglasses in front of her. One hourglass measures 7 minutes, and the other one measures 4 minutes. She needed to time 9 minutes using both hourglasses. How could she do it? First, she turned both hourglasses at the same time. By the time the 4-minute glass finished, there were still 3 minutes left on the other one. She flipped the 4-minute glass again. When the 7-minute glass was empty, there was 1 minute left on the other glass. And once the 4-minute glass emptied again, there was 1 minute's worth of sand at the bottom half of the 7-minute timer. She flipped it over again, so there was 1 minute worth of sand on the top of the glass. And when the 7-minute timer finally emptied again, 9 minutes elapsed in total. Anna sat down to watch her favorite TV show. She made some popcorn, turned on the TV, and nestled comfortably to binge-watch an entire season. Her cat Pepper sat down next to her, but after 5 minutes of screen time, Anna suddenly passed out. Look at the image. Can you guess what happened there? Anna's cat Pepper got scared with the loud thump that came from the TV. It jumped on top of Anna and it scared the life out of her. That's why she passed out. Take a look at this scene. Who do you think has the best chance at survival? The 2 guys look pretty stuck in there, but the woman on the right might have a chance. The rope looks a bit loose around her body. She could try to shake it off and then use her free hands to untie her ankles. Bella landed in New York with a very ambitious career goal. But first thing she needed to do after arriving in the city was to find her apartment. There were many options to get from the airport to her apartment, but Bella decided to save money and go by bus. She had to purchase a ticket for $10, but a handsome guy popped out of nowhere and offered her a better deal. He said his plans had changed and he didn't need his bus ticket anymore. He offered to sell it to her for $6. Bella agreed and gave him the money, but it turned out to be a big mistake. Why? Take a look at the current date on the screen of the vending machine. And now check the date on the ticket. The ticket the man sold Bella expired over a month ago. Finally, Bella managed to arrive in Manhattan and find her apartment. She was sharing a house with 3 other women. Bella introduced herself to them and went to settle in her room. She left her belongings on her bed and went to take a shower. When she stepped out of the shower, Bella noticed that her laptop was missing. She got furious and decided to interrogate all of her new roommates. Sarah said she had gone out to get a cup of coffee. She even told Bella to ask the doorman of their building since he had seen her leave. Kelly said that she had taken an afternoon nap with her headphones on. She said she hadn't heard or seen anything strange going on inside the apartment. Shannon said that she had gone to the building's rooftop to take some pictures of the city since she was a professional photographer. Can you tell who's lying here? It's Shannon.
Uh-oh.
If you notice the sign on the lobby, the building strictly prohibits people from accessing the rooftop. Alfred is a supermodel and he just landed his dream job. The biggest magazine in the country invited him to be on the cover of their latest issue. On the day of the photo shoot, he arrived early in the studio. After finishing with hair and makeup, he looked in the mirror and screamed, "Oh no!" His skin was all red. It looked like he was having some serious allergic rash. He called all the assistants he had seen earlier in the day to interrogate them. Amy, the photographer's assistant, said she had been told Alfred was allergic to peanuts, so she made sure to only buy safe snacks. Bo, the makeup artist, said he hadn't touched Alfred's food. He said that right after he finished doing his job, he left for a coffee break. Mary, the cleaning lady, said that she knew how sensitive models could be, so that's why she had only used organic and hypoallergenic products to clean his dressing room. Alfred immediately knew who had contributed to his rash. Can you figure it out too? It was definitely Bo. Sure, he didn't have access to Alfred's food, but he was the only one who touched Alfred's face that day. Liv was recording a dance routine for her social media page when a huge portal opened up and swallowed her whole. The next thing she knew, she was stuck inside a big cavern. Out of the blue, a great genie appeared. He told her that she would only be allowed to leave if she figured a way out by herself. As soon as he disappeared, she saw that there were 3 buttons on the wall. There was a red, a yellow, and a green button. On the floor, there was a note that read TDUPT, RNOR, EHEB, and SST. She clicked one of the buttons and managed to open a door on the wall. Can you guess which button she chose? The red button. She unscrambled the words on the note and discovered it read, "Press the red button." As soon as she pressed the button, Liv was transported into a virtual reality world. An artificial intelligence greeted her welcome and showed her 3 doors. The AI told her that only one door would lead to her freedom. It told her that behind the first door, there were hungry Pac-Men waiting for someone to walk inside. Behind the second door, there were cursed rollerblades. Once you put them on, you'd never be able to take them off. Plus, they had a will of their own and ended up taking you to some pretty dark places. Behind the last door, there were flying fuzzy creatures with laser eyes that would burn anything they came into contact with. Which door do you think Liv should use to escape? Well, she should pick the second door, because she wouldn't be obligated to put the pair of rollerblades on. She could walk past them and straight to her freedom. During the time she was gone, Liv noticed that someone had stolen her laptop. It had all her social media content on it. She figured it must have been one of her roommates, so she decided to take a look around the house and try to find it. Look at these images. The first room belongs to Jill, the second one belongs to Rachel, and the third one belongs to Amy. Can you figure out who stole Liv's laptop? If you look closely, Rachel's cat is sleeping on top of something that really looks like a laptop. It must have been her. Elsa was 17 years old the day before yesterday. Next year, she'll turn 20.
Yay.
How come? It's possible if the present day is January 1st, while Elsa's birthday is on the 31st of December. The day before yesterday, on December 30, she was still 17 years old. Yesterday, on the 31st of December, she turned 18. Thus, this year, Elsa turns 19 and next year, 20. Elsa and her sister Helga explore an old attic in their parents' house. It's very dark and dirty. After that, they go downstairs to have some lunch. Helga's face is all covered with dust, while Elsa's face is super clean. But still, only Elsa goes to the bathroom to wash her face. Why? Elsa noticed that her sister's face was dirty, so she thought her face must be dirty too. As for Helga, she saw that Elsa's face was clean and assumed that her own face was clean too. After lunch, Elsa and Helga go for a walk across an enchanted forest. They reach the riverbank, but the bridge is closed for repairs. The sisters notice two dwarfs fishing in a boat near the bridge. They agree to help the sisters, but their boat is very tiny. It can fit either one sister or two dwarfs. Luckily, they manage to solve this issue. Elsa and Helga cross the river on the same boat. How? Well, first of all, one of the dwarfs brought his fellow on the opposite bank. Then he headed back for the sisters alone. Helga got into the boat and crossed the river. She gave the second dwarf the boat, and he returned to the opposite bank. He picked his fellow dwarf and brought him to Helga. Then one of the dwarfs swam to Elsa and passed the boat to her. She crossed the river and joined Helga, and finally, the second dwarf returned to his fellow. Helga and Elsa keep on walking and get lost in the forest. There are 3 roads to the nearest town. The first route is filled with mutant plants which feed on humans. The second path leads through an ice cave with a hungry dragon frozen inside a huge ice cube. The third route leads through a village of fairies. Their magic makes humans lose their minds. Which way is safe? Well, the dragon is trapped inside the ice cube, so it's not that dangerous. Finally, the sisters reach the town. They're walking down the main street. Suddenly, someone throws an orange right at Helga's head. Elsa identifies the apartment from which the fruit fell out and goes there to complain. She knocks, and a young man opens the door right away. Elsa explains that her sister was hit by an orange that fell from his window. But the guy says, "I was washing my dog when you knocked. Only me and my pet live here, so you confused the floors." But Elsa didn't believe him. Why? According to the man, he was bathing his only pet, but the dog's hair is dry. Therefore, his story is fake. Elsa and Helga enter the local home decor shop. Helga takes a picture of her sister standing in front of the mirror. Can you spot anything odd in this photo? Take a closer look at the mirror. Elsa's hands are reflected wrong, as well as the sale poster behind her. She must be a vampire. Just kidding. The sisters continue exploring the shop, but suddenly Elsa begins to scream and runs away. That's because one of these ladies is not alive. Can you guess who? The first woman is an ordinary human. There's a mirror behind her. The third lady has a painting of herself in the background. And the second lady, who's looking over her shoulder, is a phantom. Her reflection in the mirror doesn't match the reality. Elsa decides to hide in a building nearby. Surprise! It's a pet shop. Elsa wanders around it and spots one weird detail. Can you see it too? The turtle is wearing sunglasses. The locals tell Elsa and Helga about a creepy werewolf who has been scaring the citizens for several weeks. They only know that this werewolf is a lady, and she has a husband. He's the only person who can calm her down. Elsa finds 3 suspects who might be the werewolf's husband, but none of them admits it. Can you find him? He's the second guy. There are suspicious brownish hairs on his clothes, although his own hair is blonde. The next day, Helga has a birthday party. Elsa goes to the bakery to purchase a cake for her. She's late, so she rushes over and bumps into a waiter. Elsa hits her head and forgets what cake Helga asked her to buy. She remembers just 3 things. It shouldn't have any green elements, the cake frosting shouldn't include more than 1 color, and it must have at least 1 berry. Can you help Elsa find the correct cake? Elsa should take the 4th cake. It's a chocolate cheesecake, so it doesn't have anything green. The glazing is brown and is decorated with cherries. A perfect match. Elsa buys the cake and leaves. The bakery is located inside the highest tower in town. Elsa enters the elevator to go down, but she hits the wrong button and finds herself on the roof. She decides to take some pictures with the iconic huge clock installed at the top of this tower. Oops! Elsa drops her phone from the roof. She decides to leave, but someone has already locked the door, and the elevator won't work. So she's trapped on the roof. Luckily, Elsa can still change the time of the clock. What time should Elsa set on the clock to make someone notice and rescue her? If she sets 5:05 on the clock, it'll look like an SOS signal. Finally, Elsa escapes from the tower and heads to the parking lot. Here's her car. Can you figure out the number of the place where it's parked? '87. Elsa arrives home. Helga shows her vacation photos sent by her new boyfriend, Kyle. In this case, you can see Kyle, his friend Bob, and a humanoid robot, Neo. Neo is standing next to Bob. A person wearing the yellow mask is not a man. What color is Kyle's mask? According to the terms, only the third guy can be Kyle, so his mask is blue. The birthday party is going well. It's almost midnight, so Elsa goes to the kitchen and adds candles on the birthday cake. Suddenly, she remembers that the only lighter in the house is upstairs in her room. She leaves the cake at the table for a minute. Then Elsa returns and sees the cake smashed all over the floor.
Oh, no.
She questions 3 suspects. Lauren says, "I was in the living room all night. I don't know who did it." Wendy says, "I went outside to watch the full moon. It's so beautiful tonight." Kyle says, "I was shooting a TikTok dance with Helga." Who ruined the cake? Wendy. Take a look out the window. The moon is not full. Busted. The next morning, Helga wakes up earlier than Elsa and checks her feed. Breaking news: a legendary thief ran away from a nearby prison and now creeps around the town. He's a talented shapeshifter, so no one knows for sure what he might look like. Suddenly, Helga hears someone ringing on the door. She opens and faces 2 guys who introduce themselves. Bob is a gardener from a nearby park, and Peter is a garbage man. Both guys want to use a bathroom, so they ask Helga to let them in. But only one of them is safe to invite over. Can you guess who? Bob is wearing clothes with red stains, but he's also holding a brush, so he was probably just painting a fence. Let's take a closer look at Peter's facial hair. One mustache has come unglued. It's fake. So he must be the runaway criminal from the news.
Rose, Lily, and Jasmine enter a flower shop on Mother's Day to buy some flowers for their moms. One of them buys lilies, the second one, roses, and the third one, jasmines. "It's funny," said the lady with roses. "We bought roses, jasmines, and lilies, but none of us bought the flowers matching her name." Lily replies, "Whoa, you're right." Can you guess which kind of flowers each of the girls bought? We know that the lady who bought the roses isn't Rose, and she's not Lily either, because Lily replied to her words. So Jasmine bought roses, Rose bought lilies, and Lily bought jasmines. Bob also bought some flowers for his wife. All of the flowers he has are orchids, except 2. All of the flowers he has are hibiscuses, except 2. And all of the flowers he has are roses, except 2. Can you guess how many flowers Bob has? Bob purchased only 2 flowers. neither of which are orchids, hibiscuses, or roses. At the end of his shift, the barista checks a tip jar. There are 5 coins inside the jar. 5 people take these 5 coins home. However, 1 coin is still left in the jar. How can this be possible? Simple. The last person took the jar along with the coin. Therefore, 1 coin still remains in the jar. 3 best friends participate in a bicycle race, but one of them is cheating. Can you guess who? The person in the middle. She rides an electric bike. 4 people wake up on a deserted island. In a while, they get really hungry and go for a walk to find some food. Amy finds a bush with berries. Peter finds a closed can of beans. Fred finds this beautiful apple tree. And Nina discovers a hive full of honey. Only one of these options is safe. Can you decide which one? A creepy cobra is hiding in the bush. The beans expired 10 years ago. It's not safe to take honey from the hive without a protective suit, so apples are the safest option. It has 13 hearts, yet it's never alive. What is it? A pack of cards. I have 3 eyes and all are in a straight line. When my red eye opens, everything freezes. What am I? I'm a stoplight. I'm made of wood, but you can't saw me down. What am I? I'm sawdust. Wendy is trapped in a creepy castle. It has only 2 possible exits. The first door leads to a room constructed from magnifying glass. The blazing hot sun instantly fries anyone who enters. And there's a fire-breathing dragon waiting behind the second door. Can you help Wendy escape? She should wait until nighttime and go through the first door. Can you write the number 45 only using the number 4? Here's the correct way. Tim lives in an apartment building. He comes home in the evening and finds out that his car is wrecked. He also sees 3 neighbors standing nearby. Tim wants to find out who's guilty, so he questions them. Henry replies, "I was just skating around the block. I didn't touch your car." Will says, "I was playing basketball with my friends." And Shelley replies, "I've spent all day working in the coffee shop on the first floor of our building." Can you spot the liar? Shelley. She said that she'd been visiting the coffee shop, but it's closed for good. Bella wants to rob an old lady's house. She approaches the door and sees that the door is opened. Bella freaks out and runs away. Can you see what's wrong here? There's no hole for a key. There's a 5-letter word that has 3 consonants, and they are all the same. Also, the word has 2 different vowels. There's something wrong associated with this word. Can you guess it? Error. Sam is a restaurant owner. He enters the space, and the waiter whispers to him, "Sir, there's a famous millionaire eating lunch at one of the tables." Sam looks around and sees these 4 persons. Can you guess who's rich? The first guy is wearing a fake Nike hoodie. This elegant woman has a fake Gucci bag. The third person is wearing torn shoes. And this lady is holding the keys from the brand new Ferrari parked behind the window. So, she's definitely not poor. Take a look at these 9 letters. Can you form a 9-letter word using these letters? Don't forget to use each letter. The word is mythology. What has lots of eyes but can't see? The correct answer is a potato. I'm the part of the bird that's not in the sky. I can swim in the ocean and yet remain dry. What am I? I'm a shadow. An electric train is traveling southwest at 95 miles per hour, and the wind is blowing northeast at 95 miles per hour. Can you guess which direction the smoke blows? There's no smoke with an electric train. What five-letter word becomes shorter when you add two letters to it? The correct answer is short. The more of me here, the less you see. What am I? I'm darkness. What building has the most stories? Library, of course. Bob gets lost in the gym. He's wandering around and finds 3 doors leading outside. There are dangerous lions behind the first door. There's a giant pterodactyl breathing fire behind the second door. And behind the third door, there's a tank with hungry sharks. Nobody can cross this tank and stay alive. Which door should Bob choose to survive? To crack this riddle, Bob should remember that pterodactyls don't breathe fire. That's what dragons do. Also, pterodactyls went extinct many millions of years ago, so Bob should choose the second door. I'm tall when I'm young, and I'm short when I'm old. What am I? I'm a candle. There's a one-story house in which everything is pink. Pink walls, pink doors, pink furniture. Can you guess the color of the stairs? It's a one-story house. There are no stairs. I'm taken from a mine and shut up in a wooden case from which I'm never released. And yet I'm used by almost everybody. What am I? I'm a pencil lead. Miss Smith is a billionaire. She has 3 people living in her house with her. Adam, her reckless son, Peter, her noisy brother, and Sebastian, the loyal housekeeper. One day, Miss Smith finds this message written on her calendar. Can you help her spot the betrayer? Ooh. The circled numbers mean the months. It's her son, Adam. I can be long or I can be short. I can be grown and I can be bought. I can be painted or left bare. I can be round or a square. What am I? I'm your fingernails. Danny is a famous vampire hunter. He gets an invitation to a small town. There's a vampire living in this town, but nobody can catch this dangerous creature. Danny decides to look in the local restaurant. He asks the staff to show him security camera archives to check among the restaurant visitors over the years, and soon identifies the vampire. Who's the vampire? There he is. Vampires don't age, and also don't eat food. Danny takes a walk around the town and spots another creepy detail. Can you see it too? There's a zombie hiding over there. What about this location? Can you spot any zombies here? Hello! Great job! Can you count the number of triangles in the given picture? What about this picture? How many triangles can you see? You can pause this video if you need extra time. There are 104 triangles in this picture.
Now, Bella and Ella are preparing for an epic party. Can you figure out who's not very smart? Even though Bella looks as if she's about to touch a hot iron, the device is actually unplugged, so she probably won't burn herself. Meanwhile, Ella is about to touch a heated waffle. Bella and Ella text their friend named Mike, who never answers any questions directly. They invite him to go to a party together. Mike's answer is kinda weird. Sorry, no money, job and job. Now, can you help the ladies crack Mike's message? Mike said he had no money because he was in between jobs. Bella and Ella arrive at the nightclub and see a huge line at the entrance. The local guard, Greg, checks people's ID cards. His task is not to let in suspicious people and folks under 21 years old. Here's the first guest's ID card. What do you think? Can you help Greg decide if he can let this visitor in? She seems fine. Let her in.
Yes!
Here's the next guest. What do you say? June 31 doesn't exist. There are only 30 days in June, so no entry, buddy.
Oh no!
Now what about this guy? Something's wrong with his birth date as well. There was no February 29 in 1977. That wasn't a leap year. And what about this lady's ID? Yep, she's good to go.
Okay.
Here's another candidate. What do you say? Well, he's 22, so he seems fine. Finally, Bella and Ella enter the club building, but they take a wrong turn and get lost. Finally, they enter an old-fashioned two-story hallway with a beautiful fountain in the middle of the room. That's when Bella and Ella realize that they are not alone. There are many ghosts here. Can you figure out the exact number? There are 7 ghosts in this space. One of the ghosts is hiding inside the fountain. And the lady over there is not a ghost. She's standing on her feet and she's sweating. So she's very much alive. The lady is the owner of the property. She says, to get out of this place, you have to crack the following puzzle. Can you help Bella and Ella figure out what number is hiding under the question mark? It's 1. 5 equals 1 because 1 equals 5. That was mentioned earlier in the equation. Bella and Ella are very hungry. Finally, they get to the party and see 2 tables with snacks. Although they look identical, there are 5 differences between them. Can you spot those details? Feel free to pause the video if you need more time. Here they are. Bella and Ella take a couple of selfies at the party. Can you spot 3 differences between these pictures? Ah, 1, 2, and 3. Bella goes to the dance floor, and Ella stays on the sofa. After a while, Bella returns and finds no Ella, only a creepy note on the sofa. "We have imprisoned your friend in the middle of this labyrinth. Go save her before it's too late." Bella approaches the labyrinth entrance. She's worried that once she walks in, she won't be able to find her way out.
Oh my god.
How can she escape the labyrinth without getting lost and wasting too much time? She should put her right hand on the right wall and go forward, touching it at all times. She'll be walking into traps along the way. But if Bella follows the right wall, she'll get out of traps and will eventually find her way out of the labyrinth. Let's take a look at this labyrinth from above. Can you help Bella find the correct path? Here's the only route leading to the final destination. Bella manages to find Ella in the center of the maze. Suddenly, a secret door opens, and a creepy voice announces, "You can use this elevator to leave, but first, you have to enter a 4-number passcode to turn it on." Can you help the ladies crack the code? Take a look at the 4 symbols on the elevator. It's a hint. Each image implies a number. The word crown consists of 5 words, so it implies 5. Necklace implies 8, ring 4, and diamond 7. And the code is 5847.
Oh.
Bella and Ella want to return to the party, but they face a guard who says, "You'll have to crack my riddle if you want to come in." What is that thing that you have to break before you can use it? The ladies crack this mystery right away. What about you? The correct answer is an A.
Yes!
Bella and Ella are walking down the corridor. They face a locked door. There are 5 buttons on the door, but only one of them will let Bella and Ella pass. If they choose the wrong one, the door will get blocked forever. Can you help them choose the correct button? There's something special about almost all these buttons. The first one is unlike the others because it doesn't have an outline. The second one has a different shape. The third one has a different color. And the last one is smaller than all the others. The fourth button doesn't have any distinctions. That's what makes it so special. So Bella and Ella should press this one. Yay! The party goes on. 3 guys approach Ella and invite her to the dance floor. But only one of them is safe to dance with. Can you decide who? The first guy has too many spikes on his clothes. He might accidentally scratch Ella. And the second guy is a sorcerer. He has a love potion in his pocket, so he can't be trusted either. Therefore, Ella should pick the third guy. Bella takes a picture of Ella on the dance floor. She freaks out right away.
Oh my god.
Why? There's a skeleton among the dancing people. Ella gets very thirsty after dancing and approaches a waiter. He offers her an infinite supply of free drinks if she can crack his riddle. "I'll give you 1 glass of milk and 1 glass of water. You'll need to pour the 2 liquids into a bowl, but you should be able to separate the milk from the water later. You can't use any kind of dividers." It took Ella a while, but she cracked this riddle. What did she do? She poured all the water into a bowl and froze it. After that, she added the milk.
Oh.
Finally, Bella and Ella leave the party and enter a supermarket to grab some snacks. They see two ladies. One of them is married to their friend Mike. Can you guess who? It's the lady on the left. Her shopping cart contains shampoo for men's hair and beard. Bella, Ella, and their common friends, Nick, Nancy, and Adam, are hanging out at Mike's place. The next morning, they find Mike unconscious in the living room. None of the five friends know what happened to him. The police show up and they find a note next to Mike's calendar. It reads 4, 12, 8, and 3. The detective already knows who attacked Mike. What about you? It was Adam. The note was next to a calendar. 4 implies April, 12 implies December, 8 August, and 3 March. Take the first 3 letters of each month, and you get the name Adam. The next day, Bella and Ella go skydiving. Oh no, Bella's parachute hasn't opened, and she's now plunging toward the ground. There are 2 places where she can land. Bella can either fall into the lake or into this large haystack. Can you help her choose the best option? Bella should try to fall on the hay. Can you see those creepy crocodiles hiding near the lake? Bella manages to land safely. She meets Ella and they go camping. Unfortunately, Ella gets bitten by a snake, and Bella is trying to suck the venom out of her leg. Mike is also on the trip. Suddenly, he spots a black widow spider on his arm. Who's in a bigger danger, Bella or Mike? Bella. If she has any scratches in her mouth, the venom will get inside her bloodstream. As for Mike, black widows rarely bite people, and the bites are rarely fatal.
John's father has 3 sons. There's Jack, a quiet, intelligent student. Then there's Jason, a popular athlete. So who's the 3rd son? It's John. His father has 3 sons, Jack, Jason, and him, John. One day, a teacher decided to give her students a test, but all of them refused to take it. She could give detention for skipping the test to only one student. All of them knew each other's names. If a student knew they were going to get a detention, they agreed to take the test. How could the teacher make all the students participate? She told them that she'd give detention to the student whose name came first alphabetically. Then this person wouldn't skip the test, the next person on the list wouldn't skip as well, and so on until the end of the list. Randy was at home, sitting in his chair with a book. Suddenly, his sister's super expensive vase fell and broke in the living room. He ran there in time to see a stranger jump out of the window and run away. Randy tried to chase him, but his glasses fogged up because of the cold, so he couldn't see the person. When the police arrived, they immediately knew he was lying. He'd broken the vase himself. How did they know? Glasses don't fog up when you go from a warm room to the cold outdoors. It's the other way around. Michael Winston, who dislikes modern art, rushed into the city gallery and caused millions of dollars worth of damage to several paintings. Yet, the manager of the gallery thanked Mr. Winston for his actions. How come? Michael was a firefighter. The water from his hose damaged several masterpieces, but he still managed to extinguish the fire and save many more exhibits. Look at this line of people at the checkout in a supermarket. They're all a colorful bunch, but one of them is trying to sneak out food out of the store. Can you tell who just by looking at them closely? You might have thought it was the pregnant woman because of the fake tummy, but look! She's wearing comfy sneakers without shoelaces so that she could slip them on easily. The guy in a baggy hoodie sure looks suspicious, but it's not food he's hiding inside his pockets. It's a kitten. And the real culprit is the guy behind him. Look at his sleeves. One of his arms looks way bigger than the other. He must be hiding something in there. A man dressed in black from head to toe was walking in the middle of the road. All of a sudden, a huge black car with its headlights off came around the corner and screeched to a halt, not to hit him. How on earth did the driver of the car see the man in black? Well, the only reasonable answer would be that it was in broad daylight. Nobody said it was nighttime after all. 3 college friends met after a summer break and were sharing stories about their vacation. Lily described how she and her boyfriend had gone to Paris and seen the city from the top of the Eiffel Tower. Dylan told his friends that he had traveled to Africa with his parents. But on their last day, there was a massive volcanic eruption, and it didn't spoil their vacation only because they flew home that day. And Ellie said that she had visited her uncle in Texas and learned how to ride a horse. One of the stories was fake though. Which one? Dylan's story is fake. He couldn't fly home on the day of the eruption because when something like this happens, all flights get canceled. Mark and Amy got stranded on a tiny uninhabited island full of sand and rocks, but not much else. They had no radio or cell phones, and there were no trees on the island to make a smoke signal. Suddenly, Amy noticed a plane circling the sky in search of them. She got a bright idea to make it notice them. Soon after, the plane picked them up. What was Amy's idea? She suggested using rocks to spell out SOS on the sand. Mike was studying for a big test in the school library. It was already late when he finished up and suddenly heard someone shouting for help. The voice was coming from behind a locked classroom door. Mike rushed there and opened it. Inside, there was his classmate, Brad. He told Mike that he'd gone to grab a bite in the cafeteria, only to find it was closed that day. Suddenly, he blacked out. And the next thing he knew, he was locked in the classroom. Mike promised to find out who had done this. By morning, Mike had 4 suspects in mind. When school started, he interrogated them. Matthew told him he'd been doing his homework in a classroom. Emily said that she'd been with Matthew, but later she'd gone home. Olivia claimed that she'd been having lunch in the cafeteria, and Chris explained that he'd been sick that day. It took Mike no time to figure out who was guilty. It was Olivia. She couldn't have been eating lunch in the cafeteria because it was closed that day. Clara was in her hotel room when she heard someone knock on the door. She looked through the peephole and saw an unfamiliar man. He said, "Hi, I'm the hotel manager. Sorry to bother you, but our database has crashed. Could you let me in to confirm some information?" Clara immediately rushed to her phone and called hotel security. Can you figure out why? The badge on the man's chest says Chloe Smith, and that's a female name. She knew the man was a fake manager. Emma's mother asked the girl to go to the supermarket and gave her a shopping list and a bank card. But in case Emma forgot the card's pin, her mom also gave her a little clue. When Emma was already at the checkout, she took the clue out of her pocket and immediately recalled the code. Can you say what number it was if the clue was a sheet of paper with a fly, a cat, a girl, and a snake drawn on it? The pin was 6420. Emma just had to count the number of legs of each creature. Littlefield was a tiny village where nothing ever happened. But one day, Mr. Richardson, a rich farmer, arrived at the police station in tears, saying that 2 of his best cows were missing. There were 3 suspects, and each of them had to answer one question. Have you taken your neighbor's animals? Mr. Anderson said that he and Mr. Richardson had a common business and that he wouldn't risk their partnership. Mrs. Martinez stated that she'd been living in this village since birth and she wouldn't spoil her reputation because of some animals. And Mr. Jones explained that his family had been breeding pigs for centuries and he didn't have any reason to steal cows. The police officer figured out who the criminal was. Can you? The thief is Mr. Jones. How did he know that it was cows that were stolen? Nobody had told him the animal species. A woman was having breakfast at a nice restaurant. At one moment, she noticed a fly in her coffee. She was indignant and made the waiter bring her another cup. After he returned with a new cup of coffee, she shouted, "What's with this service in this place? You've just brought me the same cup of coffee." How did she understand it? She had already put sugar in her previous cup of coffee. When she tried the new one, it was sweet. There's a barrel of water in the yard. You look inside and see that it's more than half full, but your friend argues that it's less than half full. How to figure out who's right without using any measuring tools or removing water from the barrel? Tilt the barrel so that the water touches its rim. If you can see the bottom, the barrel's less than half full. If the bottom is still covered with water, it's more.
Okay, get ready. Today I'll show you different riddles, and you'll have to decide which girl is behaving least wisely, which is a nicer way of saying she's a dunderhead. You'll have 7 seconds to decide. The riddles may award 1 point, 2 points, or 3 points. So grab a piece of paper and give yourself the points each time you get it right. We'll start with the easiest questions that earn 1 point each. Autumn and Hope are going for a walk with their friends. It's 60 degrees outside. Who is dressed in the worst way? Hope. Autumn can take some of her clothes off, but Hope doesn't have anything to wear in case she feels cold. Ava and Olivia are camping in a forest. Suddenly, they encounter a bear on their trail. Ava stands still, and Olivia starts to run away. Who is in danger? Olivia. The bear might see her as prey and follow, and he's definitely faster. So it's better to keep your cool and slowly move backwards, keeping the eye contact. Haley and Savannah are making sandwiches for lunch. Who did something terribly wrong? Haley. She put rat poison in the sandwich instead of jelly. Delaney is on the road trip and stopped to make a couple of pictures. Lenore is riding a bike to a nearby city. Who isn't being smart? Delaney. She parked her car right under the sign that says "Parking isn't allowed." Jane and Charlotte are learning how to swim. Jane went to the lake with her little siblings, and Charlotte went to the ocean with her friends. They both jumped in the water alone. Who is in greater danger? Jane. In case she struggles, her little siblings won't be able to pull her out. McKenna and Desiree are late for school, so they're taking a shortcut. McKenna takes the way through the woods, and Desiree decides to go across a frozen lake. Who's in danger? Desiree. There are cracks on the lake's surface. Ruby and Mary were enjoying their time outside when a storm started. Ruby hid in her car in the open space, and Mary kept swimming in the ocean. Who is not safe? Mary should get out immediately. It's dangerous to touch water during a thunderstorm. It's okay to hide in a hardtop vehicle as Ruby did. Okay, easy questions are over. Next questions will give you 2 points each. Paige and Riley are going on a date, but they tell their parents they're practicing instead. Paige plays tennis and Riley plays soccer. Who's the worst conspirator? Riley. She's dressed inappropriately for a soccer game. Unlike Paige, she doesn't have any change of clothes or equipment with her. Quinn and Sandra are working in a garden. Quinn was told to water the flowers, and Sandra should mow the lawn. Who's doing something wrong? Quinn. She was told to water the flowers, but she's watering the trees. Everly and Jasmine drove to a mall. Everly left her belongings in the car, and Jasmine locked her dog there while she's shopping. Who's being more stupid? Jasmine. You shouldn't leave animals or people in a closed car, especially in the hot sun. It's the wrong way to get a hot dog. Mia and Stella wanted to get a tattoo and skip their classes to get home right after school. When they get home, they immediately run into their parents. Who's going to get in trouble? Stella. Her tattoo is right on her wrist, and there's no way her parents won't notice it immediately. Hannah's best friend is teaching her ice skating, and Lily is learning to ride a bike with her older brother. After several minutes, they feel like they've got it and ride away from their supervisors very fast. Who's least careful? Lily. Hannah has the railing by her side that she can grab in case she falls. Lily will crash to the ground. Kylie and Abby are bloggers getting ready for a party. Who is missing something? Kylie. She's charging her cell phone, but the cord is unplugged. Melanie and Delilah are walking home from work late in the night. Which of the two isn't being careful? Melanie. Although she's walking in a less creepy place, there are no people around. If something happens, no one will be around to help her. Sophia and Brooke went camping in the forest. Suddenly, they notice a moose moving towards them. Who is in greater danger? Sophia, who is wearing heels and will run slower. Brooke can drop her huge backpack and use it as an obstacle. Kira and Ava want to go to a party, but their parents banned them from leaving the house. Kira decided to sneak out using the attic window, while Ava used the back door. Who won't make it to the party tonight? Ava. Kira is quite risky, but Ava's dad is reading a newspaper in the backyard. Maya and Chloe went for a walk. Maya went to a forest and stopped to take selfies with a friendly squirrel she met. Chloe went hiking and decided to take a selfie on the cliff. Who is in danger? Maya. The branch above her is about to fall. Maeve and Sarah are cheating on their math test. Who is more likely to be caught? Sarah. Although she's sitting in the back, the teacher's looking right at her. Bella and Ashley came home from a party which they told their parents would be a study date. Who's going to be grounded till the end of the month? Bella. She'll have a hard time coming up with a logical explanation for the confetti in her hair. Elizabeth and Kate are late for work, so they're driving above the speed limit. Which of them is in greater danger? Kate. She has many objects lying scattered in her car. In case of an accident, they may hit her. Ariana and Serena have to do their house chores before they'll be allowed to go to the birthday party. Who is going to be late? Ariana. The iron isn't plugged in. Since she's distracted with the TV, it might take her a while to notice. And finally, here are the hardest questions that award 3 points each. Jessica and Margot are jaywalking. Jessica is listening to music, and Margot is texting her friend. Who is in greater danger? Jessica. Although they're both behaving poorly, Margot is on a straight road where she can be noticed. Jessica is jaywalking before the road takes a turn. Someone might not have enough time to react and stop. Julia and Naya are taking a vacation to the jungles. Julia got tangled up in lianas, and Naya got stuck in quicksand. Who's in danger? Juliet. She can't get out, and there's a jaguar approaching her. Naya is relatively fine because it's actually difficult to sink in quicksand. Leah and her friend Caleb went camping. Caleb was bitten by a snake, and Leah is sucking the venom out of his leg. Amelia is on the trip as well, and there's a black widow on her neck. Who is in danger? Leah. It's dangerous to suck out the venom. As for Amelia, black widows rarely bite, and the bites are rarely fatal. Becky and Allison are both in a bathtub doing their morning routine. Becky is using the hairdryer, Allison is charging her phone while scrolling through the internet. Who is less clever? Allison. It's dangerous enough to have a socket close to the water, but Allison is charging her phone. Becky is sitting in the empty bathtub. She might be a little weird, but at least she's safe. Evelyn and Grace are on vacation. Evelyn is spending it in a desert, and Grace is in the wilderness. By the end of the day, they get tired and decide to spend the night where they are. Who's making a huge mistake? Evelyn. Night temperature in the desert can fall to 25 degrees Fahrenheit and she'll be freezing. Grace's fire will scare away wild animals. Emma and Avery are planning to go to the movies with their friends tonight. Meanwhile, they're enjoying a hot summer day. Who's not going to make it to the movies? Avery. She's about to cook the meat that has been standing in the sun for a while. In the evening, she'll get food poisoning. Scarlett and Emily are sitting on a beach in a city center. Scarlett is applying makeup, and Emily is texting her friends. Who is more likely to be robbed? Emily. Although they're both distracted, at least Scarlett has a mirror in her hands and can see if someone is approaching her. Ella and Madison are driving to their friend's birthday party. Ella is chatting on the phone with her boyfriend, while Madison is applying lipstick. Who is in greater danger? Madison. Although they both shouldn't be distracted while driving, Madison isn't wearing a seatbelt. Now, sum up your points. If you got less than 25 points, you scored below average. But don't be sad. Check out some of our other riddles to train. If you've got between 26 and 40 points, you have an average score, and you're on the right track. If you scored between 41 and 55, you're above average. And if you scored 56 or more, you must be a second Einstein. Relatively speaking.
Dustin is a widowed man living alone in his house. One day, the doorbell rang. Dustin went up to open his door, and right there she was, his wife. How's it possible? I hope you kept your eyes wide open for this one. Look, there's a photo of Dustin and his wife on the wall. His wife has a birthmark on her cheek. The woman that just appeared doesn't have it, so it must be Dustin's wife's twin sister. Dylan was grounded, and he wasn't allowed to meet even his girlfriend for a week. One evening, when Dylan's mom returned home from work, she found Dylan in his room and asked him if he'd met anyone that day. Dylan said that he'd been at home, studying all day. His mom didn't believe him. Why? Look, there's a lipstick stain on his neck. I'm pretty sure his girlfriend came over for a short visit. Another grounded teenager, Eslyn, wasn't allowed to see any of her friends for 2 weeks after failing her history test. One night, her mother had a night shift and only returned home next afternoon. She came to check on her daughter, and she knew immediately that Eslyn had a friend over for a sleepover. How did she figure it out? Examine Eslyn's room carefully. 2 plates, 2 cups, 2 forks. She wasn't the only one eating dinner in her room last night, and she wasn't smart enough to clean up after. Smells like 2 more weeks to me. Miss Virginia Dell is a rich young lady who had a beautiful and expensive jewelry collection behind a glass in her dressing room. One morning, she found that someone broke the glass and stole her jewelry. Miss Dell's cleaning lady claimed that she had cleaned the room at around 5 a.m. and the jewelry was still there. Virginia's best friend, who was staying in her house that week, said that she had never even walked in the dressing room. Virginia's cousin, who was also staying with her for the holiday, said that she'd walked in the dressing room in the morning, but hadn't paid any attention to the jewelry, and for sure hadn't stolen anything. Who is the liar? It's the cleaning lady. Seems like right after she broke the glass and stole the jewelry, she wiped off the pieces of glass while cleaning as well, because there's no shattered glass on the floor. Okay, here's another task for you to test your observation skills. I'll show you 2 people and some items. Your task is to guess which person the item belongs to. Let's start off easy. What about this stethoscope? Well, it should definitely belong to this doctor on the right. 2 more people. Any guesses who the owner of this bracelet is? The bracelet has a name engraved on it, Sophia. This girl on the left has a name tag with the same name, so it must be her bracelet. Next up, this lipstick. There are 2 girls who are possible owners, but what's your best guess? Who does it belong to? It must be this girl. Both of them are wearing lipstick, but this girl has the exact same shade as the lipstick itself. Earring and 2 girls again to choose from. Any guesses? It must be this girl. Her ears are pierced, and the other girls aren't. The next item is the hairdryer. Who do you think it belongs to? It must be this girl's dryer. She has long hair, and the other guy is bald. Okay, this one is more fun. The next one we have to place is this cute little cat. Who do you think is its owner? See that this girl's legs are a bit scratched? They give her away completely. It's her cat. One last item for you to place. This time it's a photograph of the owner in her teenage years with her parents. Who do you think it belongs to? The teen in the photo is a redhead with green eyes. There's just one redhead girl with green eyes, and here she is. It must be her photo. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. She came across a witch's house and asked her to take her home. 5 doors appeared. Only one of them will take you home, and you only have one chance. The right door is black. It's not next to the leftmost or the rightmost door. It's not the door in the middle either. Which door should Esme choose? There are just 3 black doors, and it's one of them. It's not the door next to the leftmost or the rightmost one, so the 4th door is eliminated. It's not the middle door, so it's out too. Esme should walk out the door on the left. Eiko woke up in a dark dungeon without remembering what happened. She looked around and saw a metal door. Unfortunately, it was locked, and it required not just 1 password, but 4. Eiko had only 1 attempt to make it right. Gladly, next to the door, there was a sign with 4 words: apple, bread, chair, and dress. Which word belongs here? Pay attention to the shapes of each password. Some letters are bigger than others, and each word should fit right in. So it should be bread on the top left, apple on the top right, dress on the bottom left, and chair on the bottom right. In a factory, a worker and a half make a chair and a half in 1 hour and a half. How many chairs does one worker make in 1 working day, which is 6 hours? If 1.5 workers make 1.5 chairs in 1.5 hours, it means that one worker makes 1 chair in the same time, which is 1.5 hours. So in a 6-hour working day, 1 worker makes 4 chairs. It was a lazy day, but as soon as it started raining, a city's police officer got a call. Mr. Jones said that someone had just bumped into his car and drove away. The officer arrived. They found one person nearby fixing his car's tire. Mr. Jones said that it was the gentleman who had bumped into his car. The gentleman said that it couldn't be true, since he had been trying to fix his car for over an hour now, and was there the whole time. Who is lying? It's the guy fixing his car. The rain just recently started. If he'd been fixing his car the whole time, the ground underneath his car would be dry. But it's wet, which means his car broke down just recently, probably when he was driving away after the accident. A crew of pirates arrived at a deserted island in the Caribbean at night. In the early morning, the captain went ashore to find his secret stash with all the treasures hidden in it. But when he reached it, the treasures weren't there. Someone from his crew had gone ashore earlier and stolen all of it. There were 3 suspects: Bill, first mate, Gil, bosun, and Will, cook. All of them denied stealing anything, but the captain knew who was lying. Who? There are footprints on the shore from earlier that don't belong to the captain. One is a footprint, but the other one is a hole from a stick. The robber must be Gil, the bosun, because he is the only one with a wooden leg. Let's start with training your eyes a bit. Can you find an odd one out here? Yes, that's the one. Another one for you. Look carefully, and you only have several seconds to find the imposter. That's the one. Correct. Now the game is getting a bit harder, but I know you've got it. What do you say? Here it is. Did you find it? Okay, last one of these, the hardest one. Do you see the odd one out this time? There it is! Great job!
Billy is a young and ambitious blogger. She's shooting a makeup tutorial for her TikTok. Can you spot anything odd here? The mirror in the background should reflect her back, not her front part. Billy gets an invitation to visit a meetup for famous influencers. This party is epic. Good music, delicious food, and beautiful people. Moreover, every VIP guest gets a bag full of expensive gifts. Suddenly, Billy sees Sebastian. He's a famous video blogger with 20 million followers. And her secret crush. Can you guess which one of these guys is Sebastian? The first guy looks pretty chic, but he has a fake bag, so it's unlikely that he's an influencer. Let's take a look at the remaining 2 guys. Sebastian has millions of followers. Therefore, he's 100% a VIP guest. Only the third guy carries the gift bag, so he's Sebastian. Billy and Sebastian fall in love, but they want to keep it a secret. That's why they spend a romantic weekend in a forest cabin away from the paparazzi. But unfortunately, someone leaked their picture, and now all the tabloids discuss their secret date. Only 3 people knew about this trip. Billy questions them. Harry, the driver, says, "I brought you to the cabin on Saturday and picked you up on Sunday, just like you asked. I didn't tell anyone because I signed a non-disclosure agreement." Billy's assistant, Amy, says, "I booked the cabin under my own name so that no one would figure out that you're hosting celebrities." And Sebastian's sister, Bianca, says, "I didn't tell anyone about your date. I was feeling sick. I had to stay home alone because my daughters were at school." Who's lying? Bianca, schools are closed on weekends. A new spa salon invites Billy over for a promotion campaign. She goes to the pedicure room and sees these 3 clients. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? It's the second lady. Take a look at her feet. After the sauna, Billy goes to the shower and washes her hair. Unfortunately, someone pranked her by replacing the shampoo with paint. Can you guess who did it? The lady on the right is guilty. There's paint on her hand. Billy decides to eat in her favorite restaurant. She enters and sees these 3 guys. Can you guess who's having a date? It looks like the first guy is having a romantic dinner with his book. And the third gentleman has one set of dishes. Meanwhile, the second guy has 2 plates on his table and he's hiding a small gift in his pocket. So he's the only one who's waiting for his date. Sebastian invites Billy to a family dinner to introduce her to his mother, Prudence. They arrive and find her in the middle of a quarrel with the police. Prudence claims that her housemaid stole her antique pearl necklace, but the housemaid denies everything. Who's lying? Prudence. The pearls are in her hair. The next day, Billy goes hiking with her friends. They take some pictures for her blog. Can you spot 3 differences between these photos? Over here. What about these 2 pictures? Can you find 5 differences? Here they are. Billy meets her old friends. They haven't seen each other for 5 years. Billy has to make a quick phone call, and she walks outside. In a couple of minutes, she comes back and sees her friend Luna lying unconscious on the bathroom floor. There's a weird mark on her cheek. The waitress says that it looks like a vampire's bite. One of Billy's friends must have turned into a vampire. She decides to invite her friends for lunch to find out who exactly. Guys, let's have a picnic on the beach tomorrow and discuss who bit Luna. How can Billy identify the vampire? Billy should invite her friends to the beach. The one who would refuse to go there must be a vampire. Billy throws a birthday party at her house. She only eats plants. That's why she hires the most trendy cook to prepare a classy vegetarian dinner. The party goes great. Everyone has fun. The next day, Billy finds out that someone had replaced salt and sugar in her kitchen jars. Billy questions 4 suspects. The cook says, "Miss, I wouldn't have become a celebrity chef if I wasted my time on silly pranks." Dan says, "I gorged myself on chicken nuggets at the very beginning of the party, and then I stayed away from the kitchen and the food." Emma says, "I think I saw someone rummaging through the kitchen when I was swimming in the pool." And Sebastian says, "That wasn't me, but you should check everyone's phones. The prankster probably filmed everything." Who's lying? Dan, it was a veggie party. He couldn't have eaten the chicken nuggets. Billy wants to find her new business partners, so she's visiting a conference and meets 3 people. Each person offers Billy a collaboration. Megan says, "I developed my own fashion line and I've recently launched my first offline boutique. Would you like to be the face of my brand?" Jeanette says, "I run the largest marketing company in the country. If you sign an exclusive contract with me, I'll find the best deals for you." And Francois says, "Lady, you should sell beauty products under your own name. I can help you launch a business." Only one of these offers isn't fake. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at Francois. He has stolen someone else's badge, so he's an imposter. And Jeanette is wearing a waitress uniform under her fancy jacket. It's unlikely that she's a company owner, so Billy should trust Megan. The next week, Megan invites Billy to a photo shoot. Billy arrives at the studio, but the door is locked. She needs to enter a 5-number code. Her phone battery has discharged, and unfortunately, she doesn't remember the code by heart. Do you have any clue what it might be? We should take a look at this poster and count the number of petals in each daisy. So the code is 58677. Billy enters the studio and sees Megan, the photographer and stylist, and a bunch of pretty clothes and shoes. Can you count the exact number of shoes in this picture? The correct answer is 13. 4 people are wearing 8 shoes, plus 5 more are scattered around the studio. The photo shoot is about to begin, but suddenly the lights turn off for 30 seconds. When the power is back again, Billy finds out that her smartwatch is missing. She questions 3 suspects. The stylist says, "I was cleaning my makeup sponge when the lights turned off. I didn't move from my place." The photographer says, "I have my own smartwatch. Why would I need yours?" And Megan says, "Come on, you're a famous influencer. Why would I ruin my own reputation?" Who's lying? The photographer. Billy's watch is wrapped around his camera lens. After work, Billy meets Sebastian in their favorite restaurant. They ask the waiter to take their picture. He takes 2. Can you spot 10 differences between them? Here they are. After dinner, they go for a walk. Can you spot 3 odd things here? Fish swim on the surface of this window. Also, this lady is wearing a snake instead of a scarf. And this taxi is driven by a raccoon.
Kyle wakes up and finds himself in a mysterious hospital. He's trying to open the door, but it's locked. Suddenly, a creepy voice announces, "Hello there, I'm Dr. Hart." Clever name. "I hid a bunch of riddles all over this hospital. You must solve them all to escape." First of all, Kyle needs to crack a 5-digit passcode to open the door. Can you help him? This poster is a hint. Kyle should count the number of rings on each finger. There's 1 ring on the thumb, a 0 on the index finger, 2 rings on the middle finger, 3 on the ring finger, and 0 on the pinky. So the code is 10230. Kyle nails it and enters the next room. There, he meets 3 nurses, Lily, Lauren, and Luke. They were born to the same mother on the same day at the same time in the same month and year. Yet, they're not triplets. To go further, Kyle needs to figure out how this is possible. Lily, Lauren, and Luke all belong to a set of quadruplets. Well, that's rare. Kyle runs down the hallway and faces these 2 doors. Dr. Hart announces over a loudspeaker, "You only have 1 chance to pick the correct door. If you make a mistake, you'll stay trapped forever." Can you help Kyle out? These weird letters on the doors are hints. If we replace each letter with the previous one in the alphabet, we'll get the words trap and exit. So Kyle should choose the right door. Kyle enters the hospital lounge area and meets Holly. She says, "If you crack my riddle, I'll give you a hint for the next one. So listen carefully. Yesterday, I went shopping with a doctor. I am the doctor's sister, but the doctor is not my brother. Who's the doctor?" The doctor is Holly's sister. Kyle cracks Holly's riddle and gets this hint from her. Can you help him crack this rebus? Win with ease. Kyle faces another locked door. It requires a 5-digit password. Do you have any idea what it could be? Holly mentioned that she would give Kyle a hint. Take a closer look at the word ease. If we replace each letter with its number in the alphabet, we'll get the code 51195. Kyle nails it, opens the door, and sees 4 people. Dr. Hart invites him to crack the next riddle. The lady's name is Bonnie, and these 3 guys are her husband, brother, and her son. Can you guess who is who? The third guy has the same curly hair as Bonnie, so he must be her brother. The first guy has a heart tattoo with the letter B on his chest. This is her husband. And the second guy is Bonnie's son. Kyle is doing good, so he's allowed to enter the hospital's cafeteria and have a snack. But first, Dr. Hart asked him to find out something. Are there more tomatoes or apples in this room? There are 5 apples and 6 tomatoes in this location. So the correct answer is tomatoes, or tomatoes. After lunch, Dr. Hart announces the next riddle. 2 guys, a doctor and a bus driver, are both in love with the same woman named Monica. The bus driver needs to go for a long trip for 10 days. Before leaving, he gives Monica 10 apples. Why? Well, as the saying goes, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Kyle enters a creepy lab. His task is to take a look at these 2 X-rays and figure out who's not from this planet. The X-ray on the left has weird wires in the skull. So here's the guy from another planet. Kyle nails it, and Dr. Hart announces the next riddle. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. Who am I? I'm an echo. Kyle enters the next room and meets Fiona. She has to take 2 kinds of pills on a daily basis. Let's call them A and B. Fiona must take exactly 1 A pill and exactly 1 B pill per day, otherwise she'll faint. To take the pills, she must first dissolve them in water. Fiona has a jar of A pills and a jar of B pills. Today, she was about to take her pills. Fiona took out 1 A pill from the A jar and put it in a glass of water. Then she accidentally took out 2 B pills from the B jar and put them in the water too. Now she's having a glass of water with 3 dissolved pills, 1 A pill and 2 B pills. Unfortunately, the pills are very expensive, so she can't just waste them. Can you help her take the correct quantity of pills while not wasting any of them? Fiona should add 1 more A pill to the glass and let it dissolve. Then she should just take half the water today and the other half tomorrow. Kyle helps Fiona, and she shows him the way to the hospital lobby. There, Kyle meets 3 ladies and a guy. Dr. Hart announces, "This guy's girlfriend has the key to open the next door." Can you help Kyle figure out which one of these ladies has the key? The third lady is wearing a hairband, and the guy has the same hairband on his wrist, so they're probably a couple. Kyle enters the next door and finds himself in a basement. Now his task is to walk through this twisted maze. Can you help him out? Here's the only way out. Kyle manages to escape the maze and comes across 3 doors. He needs to walk through one of them. There's a storage for toxic incense behind the first door. When burned, this incense makes a person faint and sleep for 2 days. A huge mutant rat is crawling around the second room. This rat is the size of a cow and has 2 rows of teeth. And there's a hungry guard dog behind the third door. Can you help Kyle choose the best way out? Kyle should pick the first door. As long as the incense is in the package, it's not dangerous. Kyle enters a ward and sees 2 nurses, Stella and Bella. Both nurses have identical lunches: ham sandwiches, apples, and black coffee. Suddenly, Bella gets sick and faints, but Stella feels great. Later that day, they figure out that Bella was poisoned. They check the food too. It's perfectly fine. Can you help Kyle resolve this mystery? Stella didn't open her disposable cutlery package, so she probably ate with her hands. Meanwhile, Bella did use her plastic fork and knife, which were poisoned. It's getting late and Dr. Hart offers Kyle to choose one of these 3 rooms for a sleepover. Which room is more or less safe? There's a ghost on a chair in the first room. There's a creepy phantom in the mirror in the second room. So Kyle should stay in the third room. After a while, Kyle wakes up in the room and sees Dr. Hart drawing some sort of a flower on the wall. He says, "2 letters are missing here. Guess which ones, and I'll set you free. If you don't, you'll stay here forever." Can you help Kyle out? The missing letters are T and T. Dr. Hart says, "Okay, you can go now. There are 3 cells leading outdoors. You can choose whatever you like. Good luck." Dr. Hart disappears. Kyle notices creepy creatures staring at him through the bars. There's a half-lion, half-zebra in the first cell. A wolf-headed sheep is waiting in the second cell. The third cell is guarded by a tiger-headed gorilla. Which cell should Kyle open? The first one. The creature is chained to the wall, so this is more or less safe compared to the other options.